Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker and author, the CEO of Inspired Leaders International, and the Provincial Fathers Union President. Today we are going to talk about the father as a servant leader. We've been talking about many things concerning men, concerning husbands, concerning fathers. We've talked about the man as a cultivator. We've talked about the man as an instructor. We've talked about the man as a protector. We've talked about the man as a provider, to mention but a few. So this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you are watching us from around the world, we are talking about the father as a servant leader. We have talked about servant leadership in many different forums, and sometimes it is seen, or maybe I should say it is misunderstood. Sometimes they see it as a way of humiliating oneself, that you want to be a servant. Are you a doormat? But today in this program we are going to be demystifying the concept of servant leadership as it applies to a man in his home. So you're welcome to this program. And to talk about this with me, to have this conversation on this topic, is none other than a personal friend, is none other than a brother, a man like me, a fellow father, a fellow husband, Reverend Arthur James Arinda Bakeine. Arthur, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And you're awesome, you're looking awesome, you're smart in your attire.
Thank you for those beautiful words.
You're welcome. How have you been?
Well, I'm well, and indeed, as you have put it, I'm a father of 3 girls.
Wow.
And
there is gender imbalance in your family.
No.
You're the only...
We are balanced. The father is a male, the mother is a female, and we have 3 beautiful daughters. The firstborn is winding up her Bachelor of Laws at Uganda Christian University, and her follower, the secondborn, has started architectural engineering at the International University of East Africa. And the youngest one is in her A-level, also trying to follow in their footsteps. And we thank God for that experience and privilege. And apparently also, I am a priest, and I serve in the vineyard, in the Church of Uganda, at St. Luke's Church in Tinda.
In the Diocese of Kampala.
In the Diocese of Kampala, the province of the Church of Uganda. And I'm glad to be here this evening to share with my fellow fathers how they can be an inspiration in the lives of the people they live with, they serve in the community. So thank you very much.
For the many years I've known you, you have always had a passion for men. Let me be a little bit curious here. How did this come about?
Well, I received Jesus Christ as a young man, and I am an evangelist. And I've been sharing the word of God with men, with women. But men are very interesting in that they are enthusiastic about ministry, about church, but they are very scarce.
So how do you say they are enthusiastic about ministry and the church when they are scarce?
That's what drew my interest in taking on men's ministry as you know, as a hobby, and because men mean a lot in society, and they are a God figure. When men take their position in the community, they fulfill God's intention for creation.
Don't women do the same when they take up their responsibility in the community?
Yeah, they do. But somewhere you must agree with me that God created Adam and placed him there for some time. I was interacting with one of the retired clergy, and he was in his late 80s, I think.
Wow.
If he survived COVID, he could be in his late 90s. He said then, according to their theological training, Adam had lived over 299 years.
Where did he get that from? I need to do more research and learn more.
You know, research does a lot of things, and he was around. And then I was, so enthusiastic to ask him all that time. And then he cut me short and said, and God saw that he was not productive. And so he had to bring in
a suitable helper.
A catalyst, somebody to pivot him, to move him.
A motivator.
A catalyst, a catalyst
yes.
to make, to cause maybe some hormones, that instincts to rise up.
Interesting perspective there.
And fulfill what God intended him to be. But God says it is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a suitable helper. And there he was. And what is interesting, the Bible refers to this helper as Eve.
Yeah, not Steve.
Eve.
These days it's like it's Adam and Steve in some corners.
Yeah, but when God brought to Eve before Adam, he gave her a romantic name, a woman, because he came from a man.
Yeah.
And so the women fulfill their obligation in this kind of leadership by supporting men and helping them to be what God intended them to be.
By being catalysts to the men in their lives. By the way, you didn't tell us the name of your catalyst.
She's called the Mrs. Beatrice Sanyu Arinda, but I gave her a romantic name, Akachura Mutima.
What does that mean now?
A sweetheart. When I am anxious, she calms me down. She encourages me. Even before I came, she prayed with me. She gave me encouragement and sent greetings to our viewers. And so, in that, I would say she's fulfilling her God-given opportunity,
indeed,
and privilege in this line of leadership. So, back to our point, why then did I choose to follow up men?
Yeah.
I was so enthusiastic around 2004. St. Francis Chapel Makerere is where I came from, going to train as a full-time minister in the church. St. Francis Makerere is a peculiar place.
In terms of?
It is a convergence of all people of all walks of life.
Being a university setting.
The land and the unlearned, you will find them there.
I didn't know the unlearned that are there also.
So you take
being inside the university.
Take the privilege to learn it from me today.
Yeah.
And there are people from all corners of the country and of the world. So you will meet men and women of all walks of life.
And how did that impact on your passion for the ministry of the men?
And interacting, this intercultural interaction caused a lot of enthusiasm in working with them, and I am a social man. I am outgoing. I like interacting with people, and so the then leader, Uncle Ben, the Reverend Canon Mugaramtana, brought in a ministry called Men's Encounter Ministry, and this is where men take holiday, I would say, 3 days off their busy schedules and interact with God. You retreat, you take off time to pray, and then you have facilitators guiding you.
All right.
So I also was enthusiastic to join this ministry and work with Uncle Ben. And from 2004 to till I went to the University for further studies for ministerial formation. I was in men's ministry mobilization.
And like they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
But we started a few, pulling ropes here and there. But the few men who responded the first and second time made a difference. And so others followed suit.
All right.
As you have put it, the rest
is history.
History. So when I'm working,
so I want to believe that they are servant leaders wherever they are.
When I am working with men, I am looking at this man who is created in the image of God and through whom God can impact many lives.
All right. So our topic being the father as a servant leader, those men wherever they are, talking about them as servant leaders. Even before we delve deeper, what would you briefly say servant leadership is?
Well, servant leadership is a leadership style where a leader takes priority in investing or serving the people they are leading, or putting the priority of the people they are leading above self. If it is an organization and you are a CEO, you are managing by moving around, by working with every employee to support them to excel in what they are doing. And as a father, now that we are looking at fathers as servant leaders, you are a father in your home, not a king, but a servant. You have attention.
Can't I be a servant king?
You have to
a serving king.
When you are a king,
yes,
then you have subjects serving you. But in this setting, it is the other way around. You are there, you are a father, you have the mother, your children around, and you are listening to every detail that concerns them, including their interests, and you are supporting each one of them in terms of putting resources so that their dreams are supported to come true.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that largely it's all about this leader prioritizing the people that he serves and investing in them even above self.
Yes, and the empathy is at the top of everything. You lead by putting on the shoes of the people you are leading, so that you are able to hear them clearly from where they are coming from.
All right. So therefore, when we say the father as a servant leader today, we are saying this man in his home having the ability to prioritize his wife and his children and listening to them intently enough to be able to know their needs and therefore lift their needs above his own needs, in a sense.
Yes, and you know, you said you are a management consultant. You bring in the aspect of the SWOT analysis. You are
strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Yes. So you identify with each member regarding their goals, their aims, and identify areas where they are strong and support them, or stand in the gap in the areas where they are struggling or where they are weak.
And protect them where they are threatened.
And then they will be able to thrust and pursue the opportunity and overcome the threats. So there you are leading by serving the people around you.
All right.
Yes.
So why should this be important? Why should a father embrace servant leadership in this context?
Well, it is important that a father embraces servant leadership because that's our calling as fathers. If I am to put it, you are there to protect the people you are leading, or to guard.
And who protects me as I'm protecting?
So as you protect them, you have to draw your strength from God, because you were given your wife, your children, or that family by God. So you are a steward, and so you have to take care of them. You have to lead them or determine the direction the family should take. Yes.
Okay. And now we are using the word father. Just curious, if a man is married, but he doesn't have children yet, is he among those people we are talking about right now? Is he also called a father or not yet?
Well, somewhere there are men who are married,
Yeah.
although they don't have biological children as yet, but they have other children they are taking care of. Some have adopted children. So that one gives them the mandate.
And if they don't also have the adopted children?
No, if they don't have the adopted children, they are fathers in the making. It doesn't limit them from being oriented or mentored into fatherhood,
Yes.
but still they have people they are leading. We are looking at the aspect of leadership. As a servant leader, you are the ambassador of God in that environment or in that small world.
Whether that world has children in it or not yet.
You are the ambassador of God. You are the leader. You are the Godhead in that environment. So you ought to lead honorably. You ought to be a servant. You ought to nourish those who are there so that they are what God intended them to be. So he's worshipped and praised. Yes.
So in other words, as we talk about the father, we should not restrict ourselves to fatherhood as a position, but fatherhood also in terms of the attributes of this human being.
Yes.
Yeah.
The attribute of this human being, although the description of a father is somebody who has fathered children, but we have to look at it from the spiritual point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we are drawing this leadership aspect from God, who is our maker, who has put us in that position to serve him in that way as leaders.
In fact, I came across a word some time ago in the Greek language. You could be knowing this much better than me. Me omuntu awasi. A word called Abba, which they say it actually means father, it means daddy, and it's in a sense of source, that it means the source of something, the source of life, source of provision, source of protection. That now even God is called Abba Father, meaning daddy, the source of things. So in this context, therefore, whoever is the source of something, with a source of protection, source of comfort, source of counsel, advice, mentorship, playing the father role, the father figure role, qualifies to be called a father regardless of whether he has children or not yet.
Yes, but you are not a muntu wa wansi.
That was a joke.
Mr. President, to be the president of Fathers Union for the whole province is not something. So you command,
by the grace of God,
you command millions of fathers,
definitely, in
our country.
Yeah. So therefore, talking about the father as a servant leader.
Yeah, I wanted to answer your Abba Father aspect.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, indeed. God is the Abba Father. Sometimes we run short of words to express our needs, to express what we are pursuing or asking of him. And Paul says we groan, Abba Father, with the Spirit understanding and interceding for us. Abba Father, yes, our source of everything.
Yeah.
And that one is reserved for God, of course. Abba Father. For us, we are small fathers, his representatives. So we cry to him, Abba Father, when we are stuck with the tasks he has given us.
And they are quite immense, they are quite humongous.
Yes. So it's something that fathers listening in should know, that you shouldn't be anxious. You should know that you have a father. You know, he knows your name, he knows your abilities and inabilities.
Yeah.
Crying to him, Abba Father, the Holy Spirit identifies with you and gives you revelation and guidance.
But they say men don't cry, and you're saying they cry to Abba Father. Men don't cry.
Yeah, real men cry.
We talked about this in the morning with some team somewhere in Tinder.
Real men cry. And I would encourage men that if you have something that causes you to cry, you are justified to cry.
That should be a topic for next time.
Yes, thank you.
What are we looking for when it comes to this servant leader in his home? What are some of the qualities that the father should have if we are to say that he is a servant leader in his home? What are we looking for in this servant leader?
Well, thank you very much, Samuel.
Welcome.
What are the attributes of a father in a home? One, you are the source of rescue to the people that you father or you lead. In the home. You are the source of security.
So you are the askari of the family.
Yes, you are the askari of the family. I'm looking at you at the gate rather than in the master bedroom, because you have to make sure that the needs of the people are met. They need food.
Yes.
They need shelter. They need, clothing. The day-to-day aspects have to be met, and the father, as a leader, you have to make sure that these needs are met. You have to take the initiative. One, to ensure that your family is a praying family.
Is that part of rescuing them?
That's rescue operation number one.
Okay, spiritual rescue.
Because it is true that the family which prays together keeps together. That's one. Two, through prayer and reading the word, we connect to God, who is our maker. And it is our primary role that we worship God. So you have to be empathetic. You have to be a listener. You listen to every detail of every member of the family, so that you are able to understand their needs and then present them to God.
Or meet them. Some of these are practical needs you can meet as a man.
Sometimes they are day-to-day needs or requirements that you are able to meet.
Yeah.
But there are those that requires a reflection and guidance.
Yeah.
And I want to say that these are human beings. Sometimes they have their opinions.
Of course.
They have the way they want their lives to live their lives.
Sometimes their opinions are quite strong.
So you find that it is not a harmonious interaction. It is a debate in most cases. So you have to attend to each member of the family according to their opinions and views.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you are one unit, but with people who are different.
Yes.
So it is important that as a father you harmonize the relationships so that you are able to live peacefully. I hope I have been able to respond to your question.
Yes, so what I'm hearing is that one of the qualities of a servant leader in his home is to be a source of rescue, and rescue them at different levels. Rescue them at the level of the physical food, rescue them at the level of the shelter they need, rescue them at the level of the clothing, rescue them at the level of the spiritual life concerning praying for them, but also being empathetic, and also being a good listener to understand their needs, and finally being able to have the capacity to harmonize the relationships in the home.
Yeah, I'm still coming, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to pay fees as well.
I hear you.
You have to pay fees as well and other bills.
Yeah.
But also you have to train these children the way to go. Sometimes we go to the field and we give them hose. We have relaxed a bit because they are in the university pursuits.
Yes.
But in their early infant ages, we would go. We have some land in Busukuma, and we would go and plant maize, plant beans, and
do physical work, home chores.
Yeah, we would involve them to go and participate in planting, in weeding, in harvesting, so that they are able to have that skill.
Many of them in the cities, especially in urban centers like cities and towns and municipalities, they think that bananas come from a bicycle. They think that milk it is produced by a fridge. Because that's where they get these foods from. They have never been in a garden. They have never milked a cow. They have never even seen a cow, apart from on TV.
Well, it is important that we involve children to get to know. It would be embarrassing for children to grow up knowing that meat comes from the deep freezer.
Yes.
Milk comes from the fridge.
Yes.
They needed to know that there is a goat, there is a sheep, there is a cow.
There is a banana plantation where
there is chicken, and then you grow these or keep these animals, and you grow crops. So that when you go to the market and they are buying maize, they are buying rice, they have an experience that when we were growing up, we would go and plant crops and harvest them. These are life skills that as a servant leader, you ought to inculcate in the children.
Okay.
But key, they have to know your voice, you have to know their voice. That's what Jesus tells us, that I know my sheep. They know my voice, and I know their voice.
When it comes to that nowadays, the fathers don't know their family members. They know about their family members. Those are two different things.
Yeah, that's a catastrophe. You have to know your children, and they have to know you. For instance, there are moments in the house when my daughters expect me to react volatile, seriously.
Volcanically.
And then you keep your cool, and then you hear them saying, what's wrong?
Instead of what's right.
Dad has not reacted. So, and then one of them will ask, but Daddy, you kept quiet, you never, I say, there was a time for beating you with chiboko.
Yes.
Now there is a time for talking.
Yeah.
And there is a time to ignore your things. Because you are now young adults. You had aims. You had a reason to do what you did. Why would you have expected me to react?
Yeah.
So there are some things you let go if you know that these things are not dangerous, but also to create an opportunity or environment to use them to teach them how to behave. Okay.
So using the different situations that come up in the family as teaching moments for them.
Yes, every episode is an opportunity for a father to guide the family or to bring in something new into the people you are leading.
Yeah.
For instance, our daughter, who is in S5 now, I got a place for her to go to Makerere College School. And he said, Daddy, for me, I want to go somewhere else. I said, fine, what I need is an admission.
Go and get an admission.
Yes, she went, she got an admission, and we paid fees. That's where she is. We disagreed on the combination to take.
Yes.
I said, I would suggest take this combination because it will lead you here and here and here.
And she also said, no, I think I should take this because of this and this and that.
Because she wanted to take something easy. Okay. And I said, not everything is always easy.
Easy come, easy go.
So she went, but when they were giving them career guidance, then some of them touched the areas we were discussing.
Yes.
And then she realized that she was heading nowhere.
They say that by the time a young man grows up to know that his father was right, he already has a son who thinks he is wrong.
So now she tells me, Daddy, I changed the combination. I say, then what's the matter? Well, you wanted to do this and this and this. Because I cautioned her, it is not what you want that matters, but it is what you need. And this is what you need. And she gave me the reasons how the career guidance came in and how she realized that she was taking a wrong direction. And so she decided to agree with Daddy. Yeah, because why am I saying this? There is this story of the prodigal son. We usually look at two sons, the royal son and the more, you know, the
crazy one.
Yeah, the crazy, the more, you know, the more interactive, you know, the more active one. You know, and this one says, for me, I want to be, he was an entrepreneur actually.
Yeah, give me my money, give me my things, I go and do my stuff.
Let me go and work. And the father looked at him through the caring lens, and he gave him what he requested. But what I know, every day the Bible says he would sit facing
the direction in which the son
took.
Yes.
And you know,
so that means he expected the son to fail, in essence.
No.
He was expecting him to come back. Why was he looking in the direction of the son every day?
His heart was about his son.
Yeah.
His love for the son never gave him peace to rest at home with those who were at home. So every day his heart was out there. I want to believe that he was crying, Abba, Father, all the time. Will my son come back? His interest was this young man, not the wealth he gave him to go.
Okay.
And the Bible is crystal clear that when he returned, there were hugs, jubilations. The party that has never been presented was bashed. The best robe was given to this young man, and the ring of authority.
And that made the elder brother jealous, envious, and angry. And he complained that he had not been taken seriously. We are going to take a break. And when we come back, we will be looking at which initiatives a father needs to take in his own home to become an effective servant leader. Yes, live, love, and lead. Live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally. This is the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host. And today we are talking about the father as a servant leader in his own home. And in studio with me is the Reverend Arthur James Arinda Bakeine, talking with us about what it means to be a servant leader in our homes. And we have looked at what a servant leader really does, that he prioritizes the members of his own family, looks at their needs and lifts them above his own needs, gives them a listening ear, harmonizes relationships, and trains the children in the home, ensures that he understands the needs of the members, he becomes empathetic as a source of rescue, he knows them, and he has a compassionate heart for them. And when we were indeed wrapping it up, he made a powerful statement that it's not what you want that matters, but what you need. So today we are talking about the things that we need as men, as fathers in our homes, to be able to be servant leaders. And I know, I read from somewhere some time ago in some book by Oswald Chambers, who said saying servant leadership is a repetition of words, because to lead is to serve. Therefore, when we say servant leaders, it's like we have said leading leaders or leaders. It's more of a repetition. We cannot claim to be leaders if we are not serving. And sometimes we only think that servant leadership is to be practiced in the marketplace, in our jobs, and so on and so forth. But today we are talking about it in the context of the family, of the home. So you're welcome back to the Inspired Family Leader Program. So right now we want to talk about the initiatives that a servant leader actually needs to take in order to be effective in his own home. So Arthur, let's take it on from there.
Thank you very much. When we are concluding the previous session, we looked at the rich man and the prodigal son.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that this young man was right or he did what was, noble. But when he came to his senses, says the Bible, he said, I will go
back to my father,
put right things with my father. And when he came, the father received him and blessed him and he found a secure place to be. The father had understood that what this young man needed was comfort, was security, was, rejuvenation, assurance that he had a belonging, but also harmonizing the relations with his sibling, his brother, explaining to the other child that receiving back your brother is not bad. He was dead in his transgressions, but he is alive now. Okay. So we celebrate his return. So taking it up from there, it is important, the initiative.
The initiatives
as the father,
yes.
He took the initiative to receive this young man who plundered his wealth, who plundered his, his property and wasted it. But he took the initiative to receive him back and resettle him. He understood his needs and desires and made a provision for them. So as an inspired father or leader, you need to understand the interests, the needs of every member of the family, and then be able to align them or to guide them how to achieve them. But how do we do that? You also take the initiative to promote open communication. Open communication. Yes, open communication where people freely shares their views, and you have room to accommodate them, discuss them, the nitty-gritty of these views. In many families, it's quite different, by the way. When the father is around instead, that's when the house is so silent, nobody talks, everybody shuts up, and then when the father moves out, then the house gets on fire. Noise all over the place, people talking. When they hear the gate being opened or him hooting or whichever other symbol tells them that the dad is coming, everybody keeps quiet again. The house is not communicating. You are right. This means that there are things they like to do and you don't give them the liberty to do them. So when you are around, each one takes cover, they go to their rooms. When you go, they come out to do what they like to do for you, which you don't like. This is why understanding their needs and guiding them is and important. Supporting to what supporting them to achieve these goals is important. What if the goals are quite disastrous to them in the long run, and for you know it as an adult, as a father, but for them they don't see it? But now here we are saying get to know their needs, understand their interests, and try to help them achieve them. Now let me simplify it. Yes. Be in their lives. Okay. You have simplified it by making it more complex. No, being in their lives. In that you take care of their interests. They may not be your interests. Yes. But develop interest in what the things they like. Be interested in what they are interested in. So that you are able to guide them. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 that bring up a child in the way they ought to go. And when they grow up, they won't depart. So you will not show them the way to go if you are not in their lives, if you are not involved. For instance, what people like are friends, relationships. And there is a saying that tell me your friends and I will tell you who you are. If you are not in the life of your child, you will not know their friends. Yeah. But also, there is the aspect of not policing them. Sometimes we take on arguments and hot ones, and I tell them, I tell my girls, it is okay to have an argument, but when I am arguing with you, I don't intend to hurt you. Go out in the world, but while you are there, let our argument give you a bearing. I will not be with you, but you will be with you. Remember what we argued about. So promote open communication. Be in their life. Be in their lives. you know, the do's and don'ts at some age, they don't work, but be in their lives. Get to know what they are involved in and support them. Yeah, and support them, because if you don't support them, then they will improvise means of survival, which may cause some catastrophic, you know, endings.
They will find some dangerous substitutes to help them.
Yeah, but it's important also to set clear expectations and boundaries. Get to know where you end. There is no infinite in life. You must have a boundary. So you set clear boundaries that are healthy, but also empowering and supporting their expectations, helping them achieve individual goals, but also family goals.
Yes. We are assuming that they have the goals, and also as a family, you have the goals. That's the assumption.
You discuss, because you are not an island. You are not an island. You know, in my field work, you said you are a management consultant.
Yes, I am.
That's where I am coming from into full-time ministry. I worked for a long time as a tent maker evangelist. And I was, you know, I applied the knowledge I acquired when I studied Master of Business Administration. And I went into the field. And one of the elders told me, Arthur, you have to always involve your wife and children when you are planning and doing things. Because he says, now we are in the field. If you do something and you say, this is my thing, when you are not there, when the children are trying to touch it,
leave other people's things.
So
and those other people they are talking about is daddy.
So daddy becomes other people. And I looked at it, I just laughed. I remembered the story of the man who had the legion of demons in him. And Jesus asked him, who are you? He said, we are many.
We are many.
So a father mentality of not involving the family is an indicator that there is a possession. He's possessed with the legion. They are many. So
that's quite strong language.
Yeah, because this is the other family you described. When the father comes, they run away, and when he goes, they gather again. But when you are working with them, then, because I remember at this time I was working with Americans, and they asked me, where do we root your salary? I said, root it home, because my wife and children will need the money. Okay.
So were you working abroad?
No, I was working up country.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Within the country, but my work day to day was up country, and they needed money at home.
Yes.
So I said, when they receive money, they will send me upkeep.
Interesting.
Yes. So it becomes our money.
I still have a few sisters. Do you have like younger brothers in your home? Because it seems the men in your home.
Don't divert me. So we have to take initiative
to set clear boundaries.
Yeah, to set clear boundaries of operation, so that each one of us is free, and yet we know where we end.
Yeah, they say that freedom without boundaries is slavery, in essence.
So we need to, you take the initiative to sacrifice your interests other further. I will use an example of watching football. There are people who like watching football in cinema halls.
Yes.
Where there are many people. I don't know what...
I'm told that's when it's more enjoyable than watching it from your own television set in your sitting room.
Yeah, but they need you at home. So you have to sacrifice, you have to die to that and live up to your family.
Mine was table pool. I had to sacrifice that.
That one is
because when I was a single man, I was so good at that game, Arthur. I would play it almost every evening as a single man before going back to my crib. And now, behold, I get Miss Universe, the queen of my heart, Honorable Charity, my watermelon. I get her home, and the time when I used to play that game is the time I'm supposed to be At home.
You have, so sacrificially.
And she knows that was one of the things that I really, really put on the side.
So men...
Quite painfully, by the way, but joyfully that I was going to spend that time with my wife.
Yeah, so fathers out there, take the initiative to sacrifice that joy where there is a moment of people and spend time. Watch football with your family, if it is football. If it is wrestling, watch it at home. Watch it with your family.
Sometimes your family is not interested in your game, so you get bored watching it at home. I know that's what some man is thinking right now.
You set healthy boundaries. You agree to be in their interests, but they also must agree to be in your interests.
All
Definitely,
right.
there are programs which are violent, like wrestling, like boxing. I don't think Akachura Mutima would join me to watch that. And then you have to leave it. Anyway, it is important also to sacrifice all those things that you put in, and they quench the Spirit of God out of you.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
So,
all right.
So clear boundaries, expectations, and interests. Sacrifice. Sacrifice cuts what? Across. There are many things that, you know, they are delicacies people like. And if you find them at joints, joint 1, joint 2, joint 3, friends, we have to sacrifice some of these things so that our families are not starved, so that our families, you know, are catered for.
Or even carry that delicacy home. Take it with your family at home.
By the way, I'm a good chef.
Is that so?
Yes, I'm a good chef, but age is catching up with me. I'm a good chef. You know, do you know taking this and you prepare it with your people at home?
Yes.
Our youngest daughter, you know, reads, listens, and puts a meal on the table. And it's like you are at Sheraton.
Wow.
Or, you know, at Serena. And you say, but... you know, when I asked you to bring A, B, C, D, she can
that's
send
what
you,
I needed.
She can send you for things, very expensive little things. But she uses them to make a meal that everybody will enjoy. So if you are fond of eating those things out there, there is a skill that you will not develop in these children.
And only the servant leader will empower them to develop them.
So as a servant leader, you have to take the initiative to create an environment that is godly, to create an environment that enables your family members to feel at home, but also to feel free to consult you. Because the girls call me, Daddy, there is this, how do I go about this? I wanted to do this, I wanted to go here and there, I don't have transport. Why do you want to go there? A, B, C, D, and then you look around and send her or him transport, because you are in their lives and they are also in your life. Like us ministers, you cannot do ministry alone.
Yeah.
If your family is not supportive, it is very, very difficult.
It is difficult
and I
indeed.
have said this to a single unit family. But when we are to look at a family, a wider family, a community, like I serve at St. Luke's Church in Tinda, we have programs that support men, like in Fathers Union, like in men's ministry, like you were there in the morning, and encourage men, you know, how to rise and move, to move with the risen Savior. What we have also to create these, we take these initiatives.
All right.
So that God's people are not starved.
Okay, we just have about 4 minutes to wrap up this program, and I would like you to tell us very briefly in less than a minute, what are some of the avenues through which a man, a father, can now go and learn how to do these things? Because I don't think we are born knowing how to do all these things. So what are some of the avenues available for the men, the fathers, to learn these things in just less than a minute?
Thank you very much. We go back to the creation story. God gave the man a suitable helper. A helper suitable for him. Interact with your wife. Our wives are enshrined with a lot of wisdom, and they can input in your leadership. Where there are zigzags, they can help you to streamline some areas for the harmony and growth of the family. Read books.
Read books.
Read books about leadership. Go to fellowships, men's fellowship.
Join men's fellowships.
Here you have peers. You have peers, but also elders who can mentor you, who can answer your different questions about family leadership. Yes.
Seek mentors.
Mentors. Mentors are important. Men go to fathers' union, to men's fellowships.
Yes.
You need them.
Yes.
They are healthy. If you fail to go to those, go to your priest. Or go to your pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you need that spiritual input as well.
Yeah. You just talked about, number one was interact with your wife before you talked about books, fellowships, and mentors. So if a man isn't a servant leader in his own family, how can a wife actually support him along that journey as a suitable helper?
It is very difficult.
Yes.
Because if your wife is not your friend, if you are not working with your wife, harmoniously, if there is no open communication, how will you discuss about these things?
It will be difficult.
How will she tell you where you are going wrong, where you need to streamline issues? When will she tell you where she is uncomfortable? As I said, a family that prays together, grows together, keeps together, a couple that prays together,
stays together longer.
Stays together. The interaction, the fellowship, through these interactions, you will be able to, you'll be able to be helped as a man to move forward.
All right. And now we are talking about the fathers. So these are people who are already adults. They have already grown up. Some of them are in their late 20s. Some of them are in their early 30s. Some of them are in their 40s. Some in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. We are talking about adults already. But these adults came from somewhere. They came from children. They came from teenagers. They came from youth. So in just a minute, how can you say we can equip those children, those young boys particularly, to be servant leaders even before they later became fathers and we ask them for accountability? How can we equip boys for servant leadership?
We are role models.
Role modeling.
We are role models. There are things I do comfortably because my father did them.
And there are those you struggle in because you never saw your father do them.
Yeah, like I never saw my father rough up my mother. Whenever we would be at home with him, he would find it easy to go and cook, bring firewood, bring water, and the meal would be at table. And he was a lay leader, he was a minister, he had this pastoral work to do, he had these, lessons teaching the church, but he had time for us.
Wow.
So I find it easy. I learned from him quite a number of things. So
role modeling.
Role modeling, that's at home, but also at the church community, there are ministries we take up, like Joseph Ministry, interacting with the youth in their programs and giving them our experiences, what has made us who we are. I usually find it interesting to share my testimony with them.
Okay, great. So, what is your parting shot as we leave this program, as we end this program, particularly look into that camera and address a man who has been watching today and has the desire to go and be a servant leader in his home?
Thank you very much, my fellow men who are out there listening to this program. It is not a scandal to ask where you don't know. It is wisdom. And it is important to know that you draw your strength from God and you are his ambassador on the planet Earth. So Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 7 tells us to feel, trust in the Lord with all your heart. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will make your path straight. Without God in it, it is very difficult. But with God, it is possible. And I want to conclude by saying that no man is an island. Don't shy away from consulting from seeking for mentors, from, the close to you is your wife. God has given your wife to you as a suitable helper who can help you stand in tough times, in dark times, and in happier times. May our good Lord bless you and keep you. I hope we shall have another opportunity to expound on this. Until we meet again, stay blessed, stay men who are leaders.
Stay blessed and stay men who are leaders.
Servant leaders.
Who are servant leaders. What a program this has been. Go and be the servant leader that you were created to be in your home as a man. This business of us coming back home and we straighten our feet and put them on the table, and you call your daughter from the right side to remove the socks and the shoes, and you call your son to bring the basin with hot water to wash your feet, and you call your other daughter to bring the newspapers. Meanwhile, you are holding the remote and turning the channels on the TV as you are shouting at your wife to bring the cup of tea. Gone are such days. We have to be a different breed of men in our families, my brother. It's time for us to be servant leaders. And we have talked about a number of practical actions that we can go and take. So why don't you go and do them? Try them out. One by one at a time. Go and restore the prodigal members of your family. Good action point right there. Go and understand the interests and the needs of your family members. That's what a servant leader does in his own home. Go and promote open communication. Don't be that kind of father who, when he comes, people run away. Go and be in their life and be interested in what they are interested in. That's when you bring them closer to you and serve them and lead them. Go and set clear boundaries. Go and sacrifice your own interests as you are creating a godly environment in which your wife will thrive, your daughter will thrive, your son will thrive. And at the end of the day, they will say, yes, in this home, we have a servant leader called my husband. We have a servant leader called my father. We have a servant leader in this home. Let me tell you, it is possible.